Hello, fellow yarn whisperers. Let me steady my camera here. This is Fallon again at the Yarn Whisperer YouTube channel, and I wanted to continue on with my beginner crochet series. So today, before I get to that, if you haven't already and you'd like to, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, that way that you are informed every time I whisper something new to the channel. So to begin, today we're going to learn how to do a single crochet, and the best way to do that is with wash rags. Now, I'm not going to crochet an entire wash rag on camera because, and I've said this in other videos, my editing skills for videoing is sorely lacking, and I would not know, I don't want to put you guys through a 45-minute long video if I don't have to. So together we're going to do a small sample just to get the hang of single crocheting. And as I've said in past videos, it's good practice to go ahead and do the stitch, tear it out, do it again until you come up with a stitch or a final product that you're really proud of. You can just keep redoing it and redoing it however many times that you need to. Don't be afraid to pull your work out. It's a learning process, and that's what we're here for. So with all that said, let's put a slip knot on our hook. We've already learned how to do that. And then we're going to chain 11. And we've already learned how to chain. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And if you're not that fast at chaining, don't worry, because I'm going to lose my train of thought and you've got time to catch up. Okay, so the reason that we chained 11 instead of just 10 is we need some space to move up and go to the next row. And so we've got our chain 11 here, and I'm using a little swatch of some yarn that I ordered from Wish, and there's a video about that you should watch. I had a few things from Wish that you might like to see my review of. So the next thing that we want to do, where we're going to put our first single crochet, is the second chain from the hook. This loop on our hook does not count for anything. We're just concerned about the chains that actually are completed, and that begins here. So this is the first chain from the hook. This is the second chain from the hook. The way to do a single crochet is this. You want to take your hook, point it through the stitch, just like so. So we've got it in that back loop of the V of the stitch. We're going to yarn over. This is to hook the yarn, and while I'm at it, I want to show you it's totally okay to manipulate your hook. If you need to twist it around in your hand without moving anything else, that's totally okay. So I twist it around just a little bit to yarn over, and we pull up a loop, and then you see me twist it back again on our hook. So now I have two loops on our hook. This one was the first one that was just originally there. That's where we chained up to get over. Now I've got this new one that I just put on there. So I'm going to yarn over. See me twist that hook around again. And then I'm going to pull through both of those loops that were on my hook. Let's go over that again nice and slow. We're going to go through the back loop, or the back part of that V stitch right there. We're going to yarn over. We're going to pull up, I bumped into the camera, pull up a loop. So now we have, and don't be afraid to kind of grab it, move it around, do whatever you need to do so that you can see what stitches you're on. Now we have two loops on our hook, so we're going to yarn over, pull through both of the loops that were on our hook. Again, real slow. Through the stitch, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through both loops, through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. Get it real close to the camera. Through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. Through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. Look at that. See how it's curling? Don't worry about that. We'll fix that later. Through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. Now, we have reached the end, and the way that I can tell that we've reached the end is we have one stitch left. This little loop right here is the knot at the end. This is the last V-stitch that's there. We're going to do the exact same thing, another single crochet. So we're going to go through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Now what do we have to do? We need to chain one, and then we need to flip our work over. So now we're working on the back side. And let me go over the anatomy of the back side of the stitches. Don't forget that we did a chain one, so we're not going to do anything with that chain one. The only thing that the chain one does is move us up so that we can continue over with the next row. So now let's look at the back of the stitch. You've been looking at these V's this whole time. Now there's a little bit more to it because you made a single crochet instead of just a chain. Now the first one is a little funny, but then the rest of them, they look like they got little legs and a belt. Now, what you want to do for the very first one, let's focus on just this bit right here. You'll see the V. You want to go through, up underneath the entire stitch. You want to pick up the front loop and the back loop. So, with our hook, we're going to ignore that chain. We're going to move over to the next part, and you can even see through it. See the little hole that it's making right there? We're going to go in through there, grab up a new loop, yarn over, and pull through both. And we've just did our first single crochet of the second row. So now in between all these little people that are standing is where we go for our next stitch. So there's two legs, a belt, pull those kind of apart, and you'll see the hole where it's supposed to go through, and that goes directly underneath this whole stitch. Go through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. And we're going to do this all the way across, and then I'm going to talk to you about fastening off. And fastening off is really just a chain one, but then when you, or maybe I have enough that I can go back one more time. So I'm doing all these single crochets. Yeah, I think I can go through this one more time. Okay, so the end of this, it doesn't look like it's finished, and it's not. This last single crochet from the previous row kind of slumps over. He's like the drunk friend falling out of a car. So there he is, and we want to still remember that he's there, because if we don't, it'll cause trouble later. You put the hook through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook, and you'll see that evened it up pretty nicely. So now we've got 2 rows of single crochet. Now we want to chain 1, because that's the next step. Chain 1 doesn't count for anything, it just lets us move up to the next row, flip our work, and we see all the little sets of chubby legs back there with the belt. This is the first one that we're going to work through. It gapes open just a little bit more than the rest of them do because we're kind of tugging on it. So yarn, or put your hook through the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm going to quickly work across there because we've already talked about all of that, how to do the single crochet now. And so I want to show you how to fasten off. And you would clip your yarn at the end of this. Ooh, I barely have enough. Oh, look at that. Yarn chicken. And I have one once again. Ooh. Okay. Now we don't want to just pull this straight through. To fasten it off and make it a little bit more sturdy, we're going to go ahead and yarn over, do a chain 1, and then pull it the rest of the way through. Then you can tighten it up, and that makes a completed piece. Now this is just a sample, but to apply this to real life, you can use cotton yarn and you can make a wash rag out of it. That's one of the best ways to practice your single crochet, is making a wash rag. And so let me get an ink pen. So let's say that you want to make a wash rag. You do it 20 to 25 stitches across, okay? So you go across, let's say we're going to do 25 stitches. You're going to do plus 1. So you'll have your 25 stitches plus the 1 so that you can move up. Then you're going to do your single crochets all the way across here, and you'll have 25 single crochets. Then you're going to chain 1 right there. Then you're going to work across again. Chain 1 here, work across again. Count your rows. That's the best advice that I can give you. If you're worried about, do I have the right count? Do I have the right count? You can always stop and check. I can know that this is the end of the row because of that raised piece right there, so I can start counting my beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the knot's there at the end where I fastened it off. It's very easy to stop and count, and if you mess up, skip a stitch, only go through half the stitch, aren't satisfied with the way it looks, if your tension's off, any of that, tear it out and do it again. It's all about practice, friends. If you liked the video, and I hope you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. I like to hear from people. I'm starting to get some comments on some of the videos that I'm making, and it's so exciting. I think I've got 10 subscribers now. Like, I'm blown away by that. So, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you again on the next episode of The Yarn Whisperer. Bye!